How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Hope everybody's well. Right, guys. I'm like 15 subscribers short of 16,000, which is just, like I say, it's not the highest number by any stretch of the imagination, but like, I didn't even think I'd get like 1,600, never mind 16,000. So I'm very grateful for all the comments, likes, shares, subscriptions, donations, and all that good stuff. So thank you very much. It's appreciated. So the aim of this channel, I've just been thinking about this, right? It's like past midnight now. And I need to get back to doing videos and stuff. So I'm going to get back to the tablet. I'm going to start doing more and more vlogs and stuff. I need to start up in the game. I need to start interviewing other people. So initially, the aim of the channel, well, there was no aim really. Like, what it was, like, just through having an hard life like we've all had, there's a lot going on up here. And it was like stressing me out and stuff. I'm not one for counselling or talking to anybody, you understand? It's just we're men and we keep it all bottled up and everything. And I was struggling. So I thought I'll put my thoughts onto video and put them on YouTube, right? This is the early videos. No tags on them. Still not many views on them even now, even though I've nearly got 16,000 subscribers. Just, yeah, so there was no aim. It was just, I had a lot going on up here. It was to get it out and to try and release the tension that was up here onto video. And then, like, I started to get, like, a little following. And I mean little, like 5 people, 10 people, 50. It took me ages to get 50 subscribers. And then it just sort of snowballed and stuff where it became this thing where you've got prisoners reaching out to us, telling us about what's going on within jails, prison officers even, prison nurses, partners of prisoners, prisoners' mothers, sisters, brothers, auntie, uncle. Just crazy what it became. Like I said, I ain't no expert on jail. I ain't an expert on nothing, yeah, man. I'm an expert in my own life and my own experiences. I'd like to think that in my mind's eye that like these videos will probably help somebody a little bit. And like I say, yeah, I stick to what I know. I don't speak out of the box. I stick to what I know. But yeah, what it's become, it's like I'm hoping that it's helped people. And what I'm hoping to do with the channel is I'm hoping to interview serving prisoners. I know people might think, how are you going to interview serving prisoners? I've got serving prisoners in my phone book, right? They currently haven't got smartphones in jail, right? And what I'm hoping to do is for the prisoners to cover their faces, like with a bed sheet or a pillowcase, and cut the eyes out and everything, and show me the cell, and then do interviews with them from inside jail, talking about the problems of the prison, talking about education, talking about like I say, they might have just been knocked back on a parole window if they've got to go before the parole board. People that are like prisoners that have come out of the segregation unit, that have had nickings, the drugs, the violence, the mental health, which is an epidemic within our prisons. And just get a feel from prisoners. We hear from prison officers. We hear from the Prison Officers Association who are beating the drum, trying to arm their members to use weapons on prisoners. And I'm for prisoners, and what I'm hoping to do is interview partners for prisoners, former prison officers, former psychiatric nurses within prison who I'm already in contact with, serving prisoners, former prisoners. And I want the channel to be for the people, and I want it to be for advice and help, because like I say, my advice might be different to somebody else's. And it can't come more real than a serving prisoner, yeah, mate. So what I'm asking really in a layman's terms is I need to update my phone book, right? Obviously, the media contact me regularly as well. We need interviews on this code there. We need interviews on that. Like recently, I set up interviews with Sky News on Swaleside Prison or Stabside Prison. I've set up interviews for HMP Birmingham. I've set up prison interviews for former prisoners in HMP Berwyn, prisoners' girlfriends, things like that. Locally, Forest Bank Prison. So yeah. So what I'm hoping to do is refresh my phone book. There's a lot of people getting out of prison day in, day out. I want your prison stories. If you come to me with a prison story and it's legit and it's confirmed by the Ministry of Justice or like G4S's press office or Sodexo's press office or whoever the prison might be in the hands of, the story will get out there. And we hear all the stories and stuff, and prison officers, right, have got their own little Facebook page, right, where it's like, and they're all for prison officers, and they slag off prisoners and slag off prisoners' families, right? And what I want to do is I want to give prisoners a voice, serving prisoners a voice, right? Prisoners' families a voice, former prisoners, people that have worked in and around the criminal justice system, or as I call it, the criminal abuse system. That's the aim, but I need your help to do this. So I'm reaching out, guys. If you know someone that's just left jail or that's in jail that's got a camera phone that'd be willing to do an interview that I can put out to nearly 16,000 people, please hit me up. And like I say, what that can do then is, like, example, right? If a prisoner I'll give you a scenario. A relative of a serving prisoner in a certain prison contacted me, put me in contact with a serving prisoner, and the kid wants to do interviews and speak up for the prison, right? And because it's going to go off the prison. That could be any prison in England and Wales, guys. You know how bad prisons are, right? But he said, I want to do interviews with the media. Now, I could make that happen, but there's a lot of red tape involved, right? So, like, journalists have got a duty of care to report to the prison because they've got wax above the law and all this shit, even though a lot of journalists don't, as we know. But I thought, well, hold on. If I can interview you on a phone or a video where you're saying, right, this video is for ex-con code there, this is what's happening in this particular prison, this is the time, this is the date, 2019, they can then send me the footage on WhatsApp. I can, like, it could be several prisoners at different times talking about what's going on within the prisons. Send it to me via WhatsApp. I'll put all my contact details in the comment section below, in the description even. And then what I could do is then I can reach to the media and say, right, this is a video from a serving prisoner. He can show you showing his cell. He's giving you the date. He's giving you the time. He's telling you, like, what it's about. And then I can put it on my YouTube channel. I can contact the media and then say, right, take it from my YouTube channel, quote what the prisoner's saying, and we can get the prison, we can circumnavigate the red tape that's in place. That's what it's about for me. You've got to think, I've got a prisoner that reached out to me that's talking about the mental health within prisons. He'd been tornadoed from a certain prison to a certain prison, and he's talking about mental health and the bullying and officers trying to antagonise and wind the lads up, prisoners being given a kicking, things like this, right? Now, but the Prison Officers Association, they're like, oh, well, they're poking prisoners with a stick day in, day out, right? Prisoners have got it hard in jail. People are going to say, oh, yeah, but while they're in prison, they deserve to have it hard. That has severe consequences for people. The way we treat prisoners has severe consequences for people, law-abiding people, upon release. So, yeah, like I say, this is what it's about. But the prison officers get to poke prisoners with a stick day in, day out. And then when prisoners retaliate, right, whether it's through anger, frustration, because they've been wound up, mental health, it hits the headlines. Prisoner attacks prison officer. But what you don't see is the version of it, like the sequence of events leading up to the incident, right? Like I say, you do get certain prisoners that lash out because they're having a bad day, but also there's a lot of prisoners that are in the system that are being victimized and bullied by prison officers. They're also being victimized and bullied by other prisoners as well. It goes on there. But like I say, what it is if we can use this platform, my platforms, I'm nobody. It's not about me. I'm absolutely nobody. But I've got this nearly 16,000 subscribers. Let's use it. Let's give prisoners a voice. Let's give former prisoners a voice. Let's give serving prisoners a voice. Let's give prisoners' families a voice. Former prison officers. There's a very interesting former prison officer with 20 years experience, right? Decent guy. Like I say, he's an old school screw, but not in the way that you think. He wasn't a bully boy. I need to get him on the channel. But if you can help me in any which way, please, if you've got prison footage, like I say, I need to just clear this up as well, right? The reason I post prison footage, right? I get people saying, "Oh, it's sweet grassing, it's grassing." No, 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 no. Right? I am for prisoners, right? When I post prison footage, right? It doesn't, if it's come to me, there's so much prison footage I've got on my phone that I haven't released because it's not out there in the social media. But when you've got prisoners that are putting on Instagram videos with HMP tags, right, for Her Majesty's Prison or jail life or pen life or, you know what I'm saying, right, jail life and stuff, or setting up pages along those lines, posting jail videos, right, and then somebody sends it me, I will download it and I will upload it, right? The footage isn't mine. I wouldn't stitch any prisoner up, right? But if the footage is already out there on social media, I just put it on my channel. I'm not trying to get anybody spun. I'm not trying to get anybody a nicking, right? I'm for prisoners, and I get fucking hated for doing it, but I love it. And I love speaking up for mentally ill prisoners and setting up interviews with families of prisoners that have taken their own lives or died in suspicious circumstances, medical negligence. There's an interview that I'm hoping to do with the mother of a prisoner who's severely mentally unwell, and if he stays in prison any longer, sadly and tragically, I believe that he'll be the next prisoner to leave a certain prison in a body bag. And I just don't want that to be the case and stuff. But what I want to do is get it into by interviewing her, I'll send it to the media and then I say, listen, quote what this woman's saying. They can confirm all the details. It will put pressure on the system. Because this prisoner has been seen by a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist said, you're not coping in prison, you shouldn't be in prison. And this is the thing. But if we get his name out there and the story out there, it might speed up the process. It probably won't, I know this, but it probably hopefully speed up the process of getting him with a hospital order placed on him so he can put in a psychiatric unit where he can get that one-on-one care. He's previously been in a medium to secure mental health unit. Prisoners that are mentally ill, guys, should not be in prison. It's as simple as that. Mental health services in prison are next to non-existent. And what flows from that is self-harm, suicidal thoughts, suicide attempts, or sadly and tragically, suicide. And it breaks me heart. And I've covered so many of them. And I've spoken to so many families. Some 48 hours after the loved one's taken their own life. And we've set up interviews. Others where they've died in mysterious or sudden circumstances. And the system's been hacked and there's not been able to get the answers. And then when the answers do eventually come back, they don't add up. The version of events leading up to the death of the prisoner. Oh, prison officers found him. Contradicted by prisoners who said they found him. Prisoners haven't got an excuse to lie. They've got no reason to lie. There's nothing to gain and nothing to lose. And even though prisoners are criminals and the seem as being dishonest, right? If you've got a prison officer that works for prison and you've got a prisoner, I will listen to the prisoner 7 days a week, 365 days a year over the prison officer. Because, like I say, unless it's a whistleblower prison officer, which I've got prison officers in my phone, I've got prison nurses in my phone and stuff like this, but I need to expand. There's that amount of media contacting me, documentaries coming up like that, interviews, radios, televised interviews. This is the thing. I'm trying to set it up so people that are leaving jail can go to universities and speak to criminology students and get paid for it, right? Go to colleges, go to universities, speak, use your experiences to help educate people, speak up for prisoners, because they might have a certain mindset of prisoners and we can change that and stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do. I speak at unis myself. I've spoken at schools and stuff. I'm looking to go into a college as well. It's in discussion at the moment. There's interviews, there's documentaries, and the fact is we need more people that are leaving prison and prisoners' families who are the silent victims in a lot of this. I remember speaking to a prisoner's girlfriend from Liverpool, and she said to me, like, the way that when my fellow was in prison, the only way that I can say it's like a bereavement. It's like you've lost that person. And like I say, prisoners' families are the victims. They go to visits and they're treated with contempt and treated like shit by prison officers that work at reception. Not all of them, but some of them. Like I say, there's a lot to be said, and we need to come together to speak and to come together and unite. And like I say, if my channel can help that, then please reach out to me. Reach out to me. If you know of something that's unjust going on in a prison, right, and you've got supporting documents so you can back up what you're saying, reach out to me. Let's do an interview. Like I say, you might get jokers that are going to reach out, but I want genuine people that are in prison, that are in jail now, right? Give them my number. I'll put my number, my contact details in the description below. Send me videos, right? If a prisoner sends me a video talking about jail I will cover the face, I'll pixelate the face and stuff. I'm not after getting anybody spun. It's about the story. It's about the prisoners. It's about prisoners' families. Let's unite. Let's give prisoners a voice. You've got the Howard League for Penal Reform, Prison Reform Trust, Prison Education Trust. You've got all these great, you've got Partners for Prison. You've got all these great organisations. But what we need is direct action and stuff. And like I say, I've somehow, as a very small person and a very small voice, I've become sort of a voice for prisoners, if you will. But I need, that's due to help people. People give me tip-offs, people come to me with stories, and 9 times out of 10, the information is 100%. And like I say, I just want to direct this channel in a way that's about you, your stories, your experiences of prison, probation, things like that. Do you know what I mean? And just prison fucks with you. And what we do as men, we do the whole macho thing. Prison doesn't bother us, blah, blah, blah. And also we've got women prisoners. We've got the unjust prisoners that are locked in the system, IPP'd off, in prison for public protection or indeterminate public protection. Yeah, and they're still in the system. And we need to keep banging the drum and keeping a light on what's going on within our prisons. The media used to run stories about butlins with bars, holiday camp jails, easy jails, right? And yeah, you can have a laugh in jail, but psychologically, what it does to your relationships, your family relationships, the relationships with your children. Prison takes a bit of you every time you go. And I tried to break, rather than I could sit there and do the old macho thing on these interviews and give it, Billy, Charlie Big Spuds. Nah, I ain't about that. I tried to be real, man, and tried to say, you know what? Yeah, I've had some laughs in jail, but I'm going to focus on the negatives, because the negatives are, like I say, the drugs, the suicide attempts. You've got kids setting themselves on fire. You've got kids setting themselves on fire. Rest in peace, Christian Hinckley. God bless. Mentally ill man set himself on fire, killed himself. God bless him. May rest in peace. Tried to get his family to speak out, and then they said they didn't want to. I respect their wishes. Suicide attempts, self-harm, record levels of violence, contraband in prisons just fucking everywhere. Where you've got contraband, you've got debt. Where you've got debt, you've got fear, intimidation, bullying, and violence. Prisoners will always seek to exploit weakness, whether that's in another prisoner, a prison officer, the security of the prison, or as we saw at Winchester, the integrity of the walls that's there to house them. I need your help, and I'll put my contact details in the description below. Reach out to me. Let's do this. If you're interested in being interviewed for my channel and you're legit, let's do it. If you're, like I say, mothers, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, former prisoners, prison officers, clinical psychiatric nurses, whatever the case may be, let us speak. I can do it anonymously. We can do it on the record. It's up to you. Well, like I say, what's going on in prisons is disgusting. It's a humanitarian crisis of the highest order. Prisons are just human warehouses. Simply put, prison is the lowest rung on the welfare ladder. It's at the bottom. Before most offenders have ever been offenders, we've first been victims. Sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, grown up with mental health issues, parents were addicts, we've been grown up in care leavers. We've not had the best starts in lives. Now, like I say, we can't use that to justify our criminality. And obviously there's a lot of people in prison that are miscarriages of justice and that are actually innocent. but they're contributing factors to why people commit crime. We see the offences and we want to punish the offences. How about looking at the root cause of offending and try to nip it in the bud at source? Aristotle himself said many centuries ago, the Greek philosopher, that poverty is the parent of crime and revolution. It's as true today as it was all them centuries ago. Gonna leave it there, guys. Come back to me. My contact details will be below. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your comments, your likes, and your subscriptions. Let's do this. Cody out.